This dish is a celebration of autumnal root vegetables. In my baking dish here, I have parsnip and celeriac. I love celeriac. And after I've peeled them and chopped them, I've just placed them in some boiling water and blanched them for about 3 to 4 minutes just to take away the rawness of them. And I've drained them and they're ready to go. In a pan over here, I'm just going to cook some onions. Now, this is a really delicious gratin that goes superbly with duck. So I'm going to grill some duck to go with it. Just a little bit of oil here, not too much, and I'm going to add a tablespoon of butter. So finely slice your onions, just like I've done here, and they can go straight into the pan. Now I'm going to cook these onions for about 3 to 4 minutes or until they start to soften. At this stage, I'm going to add some sage. Now instead of adding it raw, I'm going to cook it along with these onions. So 3 to 4 leaves is plenty, and I'm just going to roughly chop that, no stalk, and that can also go in. Also, a pinch of salt at this stage. It's going to bring out the moisture in the onions so they don't burn. And then I'll give that one more toss, and we'll just let them cook together. So in a bowl over here, I'm going to add 300 millilitres of thickened cream, along with some cheese, and my cheese of choice is some cheddar cheese. So a good handful of freshly grated cheddar cheese and a little bit of butter. So melted butter here, about a tablespoon of butter can go in, and I'll mix this up, and this is going to be the saucy element of the gratin. So now that that's ready, let's get onto a topping. So I'm going to use some fresh breadcrumbs, which I've got in a bowl just over here. So 1 to 2 big handfuls of fresh breadcrumbs, along with some Parmesan cheese that can go in together, and some walnuts. Walnuts, again, I always associate with the cooler months, and I'm just going to roughly chop these. Now they can go in. Also with a little bit of salt here. And just to ensure that these crumbs go golden brown, I am going to add a little bit of olive oil at this stage. And then with your hands, really get in there and rub all of these flavours together so that oil does coat those breadcrumbs. Right, I'll put this to the side so we can combine all our root vegetables with the onion and that creamy mixture. I've got a really big bowl here, so I'm going to add our onions to the bowl. I'm going to turn that heat off, and that sage smells so good. I'm going to add all of these veggies into the bowl. So now I'm going to add our cream mixture, pour it all over those vegetables, and you can see there's not that much cream, and that's how I like my gratin. Now I'm going to transfer to a bigger spoon so we can mix all of this goodness together. Those onions, fold everything together, and I haven't seasoned the vegetables yet, so I'm going to add another really good pinch of salt for this, and then one more good stir. Great. Now we can pour this back into our baking dish, getting all of those onions. And then just with that spoon, we're just going to spread it out so it's nice and even. Wonderful. Now for our crumb. Using your hands, sprinkle that over the top. Now I've preheated my oven to 180 degrees, and this is going to cook uncovered for about 25 to 30 minutes or until that topping is golden. Once that's cooked, it's going to be piping hot, so I'm going to let it rest, and then I'm going to show you how to cook the most perfect grilled duck breast. Now this gratin is nearly cooked, so I'm going to get a head start on the duck. I've got 2 duck breasts here, and I've preheated a grill pan. Usually I do this in the pan, but a grill is a fantastic way to get some extra flavour into that crispy duck skin. Now, if you want crispy duck skin, it is important to pat the duck dry with some paper toweling. The drier that skin is, the better it's going to be. Now with a sharp knife, I'm going to just cut a crisscross pattern into the skin, and that'll help render the fat. And then I'll go this way, trying not to cut all the way through to the flesh. And now we need to season this, so a good pinch of salt on the duck skin, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm just going to season the flesh side also. Also press in that salt. Now we can start grilling this skin side down. You don't want this pan to be too hot, on a medium heat. If it's too hot, then we're not going to render that fat as much as we would like. So skin side down, and I'm going to give it about 6 minutes on the skin side, turn it over, another 5 minutes, and then allow it to rest for 4 to 5 minutes. All of my elements are ready to go. The gratin is cooked. I've just allowed it to cool a little bit because it is piping hot, and I'm going to serve a nice big amount on a plate here. This is just perfectly cooked, crunchy on the top, a little bit saucy in the center there. And I've got some spinach here. I love spinach and duck. Put that on the plate there. And now for the duck. I've removed it from the pan and I've allowed it to rest there for a good 4 minutes. Listen to this. Crispy, crunchy skin. That's what I love about duck. And it's nice and thin too, so a lot of that soft fat underneath it has gone crispy, so it's completely transformed. And then I'm just going to slice this on an angle. Oh, cooked perfectly. And you'll see when you slice it, none of the juices are coming out. If there's a lot of juice there, there's a risk of the meat becoming quite dry. If you rest it, it's going to stay moist the whole time. Now that's plenty. I'm just going to fan that duck out a little bit for presentation and then pop that on the plate with the rest of my ingredients there. This is autumn on a plate with all those beautiful vegetables and that grilled duck. This is definitely not your average meat and 3 veg.